Okay, that big sign right behind me says Crystal Valley. You're gonna like this tour. Crystal Valley is a popular neighborhood. It's also really close to my heart because I used to live here and both of my kids were born in Crystal Valley. I've since moved on to Castlewood Ranch, but there's a lot of new construction. There's some existing homes to give you some value. They were built by really great builders back in the early 2000s. I really like the rec center here as well, and I dig this mesa that's up on top. So come with me as we experience this great neighborhood in Castle Rock. Interspersed throughout this Crystal Valley area are parks, and these are really great to either back up to or to be able to see from your home. Located here in Crystal Valley, DR Horton, America's builder. That's their slogan. Heard at one point in time they were the #1 builder in the United States in terms of volume. Let's go inside and take a look at this home. Tell you about some of the other add-ons and features. So here's our little tour around the Kauffman neighborhood, give you an idea of what you're seeing for houses, lot spacing. There's active construction going on for the remaining lots. I had a really nice conversation about their mission statement, what they're trying to offer. So I am going to tour Kauffman Homes here in Crystal Valley. This is the Blanca floor plan, one of their models. So another really cool feature here in Crystal Valley, as part of the only builder that's doing the active adult community, is a clubhouse that includes pickleball courts as part of your monthly HOA, currently at $35, though that is subject to change. Nice rubber matting right here. We all know how popular pickleball is of late. And then inside the rec center is a lot to enjoy as well. Let's go take a look. Pretty sweet for a nice little rec center for the active adult community. Host a party in here, grandkids party. Great space in here. So if you live in Crystal Valley and you want to get to sporting events, your children are in baseball, football, soccer, then the Douglas County Fairgrounds area is going to provide a lot of this. If you're into the golf scene, like chasing the little white ball around, then
that's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
This stuff is all literally in your backyard if you choose Crystal Valley as your place. And there's the Douglas County Fairgrounds. Doesn't look like much, but they're from the outside, at least there's a stadium. They've held big lining events, obviously a lot of country music here. And you can come up here on Gateway Mesa. Mesa gives you a pretty private experience for hiking in Colorado. I rarely run into people up here because there's just more popular trails in Castle Rock that people obviously know about, but most people don't know about this spot. What I also didn't realize is there's a Frisbee golf course out here. Disc golf, sorry. The purists out there will butcher me in the comments for calling it Frisbee golf. Anyway, that's out here too. We're gonna tour the vistas. This is a Richmond little enclave or a subdivision here. Every lot is at least 11,000 square feet, so they're trying to emphasize the estates in air quotes, as opposed to some of the smaller lots down there in the meadow and in the valley part of Crystal Valley, where they're closer to 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Those yellow canopies way off in the distance, that's the rec center, and we'll get to that later. Let's go tour the Harmon by Richmond American Homes. So as you can see here, we're talking about 3-car standard builds, really large square footage. Again, the estate concept is what's going on here. So let's go inside and take a look. right, we're gonna go check out the Darius by Richmond American Homes. This is located here in Oak Ridge at Crystal Valley. Their whole focus is somewhere in the high 900s to just over $1 million. I won't put an exact price on it because of course those prices change and they are subject to change at any moment. But let's walk inside and take a look at this guy. This is a 5,000 square foot ranch floor plan that can have a variety of configurations. A couple of bedrooms up on the main level, a couple of bedrooms in the basement. This thing is decked out. You guys are really gonna like this home. All right, walking into the Darius. Let's talk about that rec center there in Crystal Valley. So I actually couldn't get into it because it was so busy, but I figured I would give you this type of tour where we could look at some images and I could share my own personal experience with what it was like to use the Crystal Valley Rec Center. There's a large outdoor pool. There's also the covered cabanas to help keep the sun off of you. There's also a shallow section of the pool that's great for, toddlers or your infant if you're wanting to get them exposed to water. There's also the workout area, which has a really nice view out of the windows. This is a real positive. A lot of rec centers in various communities go underutilized because people will join a private gym or just use the town facilities, but this one is great. It really is. When you pull up here to the model center of Taylor Morrison, they have signs everywhere about being able to build a 4-car garage. Obviously, a 4-car garage means the price tag goes up, but think about a space for extra playthings, 4-wheelers, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, maybe possibly a small trailer, and then your 2 or 3 cars. So I like that concept of being able to put 4 cars on the normal footprint of where a home is located. This is the entrance to Realty Park. My kids have played here for thousands of hours. They've since grown up and gotten out of parks, but nonetheless, I will always remember Crystal Valley and Realty Park as a fun place to play. Landscaping sure has matured since I lived here. There's all the playground stuff, big slides. I challenge you adults to go in there. I've been in all of those slides. Beyond there is the AstroTurf field. There's the covered pavilion. Had plenty of barbecues and birthday parties there. There's the entrance to the BMX park. Big rope structure for kids to play on. There's the restrooms. No need to show you what goes on in there. And I bet you all have seen a tennis court, but I'll just show you kind of the quality and the way that the town maintains it. A lot of people ask, how far away is stuff from Crystal Valley? Like, is it way out there? Do you have to spend 10, 15 minutes in the car to get to a grocery store? Let's go check out some of the nearby amenities. So we're leaving Rhyolite Park and we're going to drive to the nearest convenience store. So you see that Crystal Valley is not way out there, detached from town. That was the impression in the early 2000s, but now with obviously development and more neighborhoods developing, the neighborhood does not feel that far away from stuff. And here we are just a few moments later coming into a Sinclair 7-Eleven gas station. Obviously being a small little grocery store, if you need that proverbial gallon of milk or eggs, this is your closest stop. So here's Crystal Valley in its entirety. There's Crystal Valley Parkway. There's this frontage road that runs right along here. And that's how a lot of people who live in Crystal Valley choose to get to town, or they go what I call the back way through Lake Gulch Road, and then they turn left here on Plum Creek Parkway and then head into the Safeway. So the drive time from Safeway to this start of the neighborhood is about 7 minutes going this way. All right, there's your Safeway grocery store. And then lots of shops, little to-go restaurants, pretty decent Mexican restaurant over there too, a liquor store. So this is your service center that's really close by to Crystal Valley. If you want to get downtown, and I'm going to pick on, say, B&B Cafe, famous historic cafe, then I would use Crystal Valley Rec Center because it's right in the center of the neighborhood. And then B&B Cafe, you're looking at 9 minutes. All right, over here on the southern end of Castle Rock, I would call it. We've got a lot of new stuff and some old stuff. So over there on the right is the new face to the Douglas County Public Library. There's CrossFit, great place for pizza and wings. The chiropractor from around our soccer team is around the corner over there, UPS. And Credit Union, they're right there. Local Popular Bank, the post office. And then just through this parking lot, gas station, AutoZone, Cleaners, bank, Dairy Queen. If you love a Blizzard, you got to go there. And like I said, this end of Castle Rock really caters to the Crystal Valley resident because there's 3 distinct parts to town, and those kind of work well for the other parts of town. But this end of town is great. And then over here to the right is the big town central park. They'll host all sorts of events over there during the summer and throughout the year. Farmers markets, all sorts of stuff. Definitely got to hit up Yolanda's. Let's take a little drive from town back to Crystal Valley. And this time we're going to use the frontage road rather than the back way on Ridge Road, which is on the more eastern edge of downtown. Crystal Valley Parkway is just up here on the left. You can see there's a bridge over there, and that bridge is what leads us over the ravine where a little small creek or river is. And there's the sign for Crystal Valley. So we are now in it to win it, as they say. Crystal Valley is right up on top of the hill there, both on the left and the right-hand side. So the thing I'm trying to emphasize here is that the Crystal Valley neighborhood is not far from town. In fact, it's closer than a lot of people think. Let's move on to schools. Southridge Elementary School is the elementary school that services Crystal Valley. And according to this Google map right here, we are looking at a whopping 8-minute drive to get there. So that's great. Mesa Middle School. That's also where my kids go to school. That is a 13-minute drive. And it's up here in this Castlewood Ranch Founders area. Where is the high school? Douglas County High School, along I-25, kind of in the smack dab middle of town. This is an 11-minute drive. And so you just come right down Lake Gulch Road, bend your way through town, and then take the frontage road, and you're right there. So That's the proximity to high school. How about the drive to South Denver? I'm going to put in Denver Tech Center in Greenwood Village. That's a 28-minute drive from Crystal Valley. As soon as they add that interstate exchange that they've been talking about, I anticipate that drive will get easier, but probably not any shorter. So less than 30 minutes to kind of make your way into the lower third of Denver. How about to Colorado Springs? Let's say you're in the military and you're working at the Air Force Academy. That drive time is 38 minutes. So pretty centrally located as far as it goes when you consider South Denver and North Colorado Springs. Hopefully that helps. All right, so we've seen some new builds. What about some of the older neighborhoods here in Crystal Valley? Places like Opal Ridge and Terrace Ridge. How are they holding up? What are they looking like? Well, homes seem to be holding up just fine. Nothing's fallen over, as some people always accuse production builders of. I think DR Horton, Richmond, Taylor Morrison, Toll Brothers, they all build nice homes. And production builders these days are building it way better than they used to build them, 20, 30 years ago. So this is the Grove at Crystal Valley. Let's take a look at these. Richmond neighborhoods always look so clean, even 2 to 3 years after they're done, or even 4 to 5 years after they're done. I want to say this is their Mesa collection, which is the crawl space finished homes. You see this fencing, this white vinyl fencing is what is required in Crystal Valley. And then you can put up wire mesh between the rails for your pets. One of the oldest subdivisions of Crystal Valley is Windflower. Let's take a quick drive through there so you can see the real estate. Built in the early 2000s by mostly DR Horton and Centex. These homes ranged in size from 3,500 square feet to over 6,000. I toured a lot of these homes when I was just starting out as an agent in 2010. And I was blown away by the size of these homes. There's just some massive, massive properties. So being one of the original owners of here, obviously you're doing quite well because your home has gone up probably 2.5 times in value. But given all the construction around here, your property certainly has benefited. Another subdivision, Oak Ridge at Crystal Valley. This particular filing of Crystal Valley was built up much earlier than the new construction of Oak Ridge, but I'm going to take you through that right now. A lot of ranch floor plans on this side of the street. That's because there is a height limit overlooking the other lots. They don't. The developers did not want large 2 stories over here, so Richmond had to put in ranch floor plans. So that's where you see these really large homes over here. Driving into Skyview. Skyview is a Richmond neighborhood, and it was probably one of the first Richmond neighborhoods after Ryland built their homes and Centex and DR Horton in the late 2000s. All of the lots along this Loon Circle that we're driving on right now are very valuable to a lot of people because they were walkouts, but they also border the edge of the neighborhood. So everyone over here looks out over agricultural land. You have deer in your backyards, and there's just a nice cool breeze all the time. It's great real estate over here if you don't mind being really close to your neighbor. One of the oldest neighborhoods here in Crystal Valley is this Antelope Ridge. Most of these homes were built by DR Horton and Centex. There's a couple of really interesting floor plans in here. I don't remember which house it is, but they have a garage that's off to the side, and they finished the space above the garage into this huge play area. It was really cool. Opal Ridge is where my home used to be. This neighborhood was all built by Ryland Homes. These are all massive floor plans, between 3,800 and 6,000 square feet. Most of them have between 3 and 4 car garages. I really enjoy thinking back on my time living here in this little neighborhood. It was so close to the rec center because I could walk across the street right to the rec center. Terrace Ridge Terrace Ridge is another subdivision, and we'll take a brief tour through here. So these up here, obviously really large floor plans. I think most of these were between 4,000 and 6,000 square feet. Homes were still somewhat affordable back then, and so you could build these really large homes and people would go for them. But let's stop and admire this view real quick that you could get if you were out here, all the way down to Pikes Peak. This little neighborhood is called the Homestead at Crystal Valley. Partly built by Richmond, partly built by Century Communities. Let's check it out. I'd say that most of these homes were built 2014 to just up until a couple of years ago. And that's your little look at a Century Communities here in Crystal Valley. This neighborhood is called Pinnacle Ridge at Crystal Valley. These are Kauffman Homes. Let's take a look at how they're doing. They started building in the mid-2010 era. They offer 2 stories, ranch floor plans. They're also part of that active adult community. So if you're 55 and up, great spot to take a look at. Includes that little rec center with a pickleball court, the gathering place, in addition to having access to the Pinnacle HOA clubhouse that includes the pool and then the workout room and all that fun stuff that's in there. So that's your little look at the Pinnacle Ridge. This is Painter's Ridge. Let's take a look at some nice real estate. Painter's Ridge is loaded with semi-custom and custom construction. It's a one-way in street. Most of the homes feature spectacular views, hence the name Painter's Ridge. Nicely manicured yards. Again, great views. I've been in a few of these homes over the years. They always impress me with the quality of craftsmanship that was put up here. Again, all part of Crystal Valley Parkway. Are there more lots coming to Painter's Ridge? That sure would be exciting. Stumbled across this area that's obviously been developing for a couple of months now, but they've got all the infrastructure in, all the surveying stakes. So the one thing that really sets apart Painter's Ridge from the rest of Crystal Valley is the lack of fencing. If you have a dog that likes to run, or you have little kids and you want the privacy of a fenced-in backyard, you've probably got to look elsewhere because they do not allow it in this little subdivision. Wanted to take a little break from filming all the new builds in the area as well as the existing stuff and kind of just talk to you about Crystal Valley and its proximity to town. You know, it's pretty close. And I think what's coming as far as the commercial spaces at the very end of Loop Road, where it meets Crystal Valley Parkway, is going to bring a lot of value to the neighborhood. Unlike some other locations in Castle Rock that you have to drive fully out of the neighborhood, and that way you'll finally get to some commercial space, a coffee shop, a brewery, a restaurant. If a sense of community is important to you, I think that Crystal Valley will deliver that in the coming months, years. Richmond is just about done here in the center of Crystal Valley. I think Richmond builds a fantastic home. I really do. And a lot of that opinion is influenced by what I learned in the 2010 time period when Richmond really started to adopt their energy efficiency guidelines of thicker walls, better insulation, building it tight and venting it right became their mantra. So buy a Richmond home with confidence. You can see as we move from one section of to the other sections of Crystal Valley that the amount of garage spaces changes, the size of the homes change. Richmond, DR Horton, these other builders, they will have collections or series of homes that are better suited for wider lots, smaller lots. That way they're emphasizing efficiency in their building. Oh, wow, we just wrapped up our tour of Crystal Valley, and I gotta say, it was a lot of fun putting that one together for you guys. I walked through, I think, a dozen different floor plans, spoke to 5 different builders, hiked all up and down the mesa, walked the parks, walked the trails, and shot a lot of great video. I met a lot of really cool people while I was over there, and I developed an even deeper appreciation for just how close Crystal Valley is to downtown Castle Rock. You know, If you're looking for a great place to live in Castle Rock and you want to be close to I-25 so that you can scoot north to South Denver, or you want to be 10 minutes away from our great restaurants here in Castle Rock, I really think you got to put Crystal Valley on your list. So thanks for watching. I look forward to speaking to anyone who reaches out to me about this particular neighborhood and what each of these builders has to offer in the area. Thanks again for watching the video.